But I believe that there are also some deeper things that can cycle from one generation to the next, and it is carried through our spirit. Let me back that up. Amen. Now, according to Numbers chapter 13, it says that Joshua and Caleb were among the 12 spies that Moses selected to enter secretly into the promised land. Now, this was the land that God had promised generations that came before them, that they would someday inherit and live as free people. Now, spying out the promised land was an important time of transformation because it was the first step for that generation could consider changing the purpose and their possibilities. I say this because the Israelites were recently freed slaves who had always been told when to get up, when to go to bed, when they didn't own anything except the clothes on their backs. But greater than this promise of their own land, there was also the promise of freedom. This was an opportunity for them to begin to see themselves as people who didn't have to walk, think, speak, act like slaves anymore. If only there was someone in their generation with the courage to believe that it was possible to break the generational chains of 400 years of being identified only as slaves from generation to generation to generation. Now, when the spies returned to report what they had observed in the promised land, the Bible says that 10 of them said that although they could see that the land was rich and fertile, they came back with a report that it would be impossible for them to enter and conquer this land because the people were strong, the cities were fortified, and not only that, there was some inhabitants in the land who were descendants of a giant by the name of Anak. But Caleb, who had seen the same thing as all the other spies, spoke out with boldness and said, yes, the people are strong. The cities are fortified. Yeah, I saw those great big old giants up there, those sons of Anak. But so what? So what? Let's go up and possess this land, for we can do it. Now the other 10 spies began to shoot down his proclamation of faith. And they began to stir up the fears of the people. They said, we can't fight. We can't fight against people who are stronger than us. This land just kind of eats up its inhabitants. And these men who are descendants of Anak, they are so big that we felt like grasshoppers. In fact, they even treated us like grasshoppers that they could just squash under their feet. Caleb begged the people to believe God, but they failed to put their trust in what God could do. Now the question is, why did Caleb see the presence of giants as an opportunity for their generation to experience the power to do something that had never been done before? Whereas the other 10 could only see these giants as confirmation that they were destined to remain powerless people with unfulfilled promises. Now the answer to that question is revealed in the book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 24, where it says, but my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it. There was some generational blessings that God had ordained through Caleb. And the Lord said that when Caleb had a different spirit, this becomes interesting because Caleb was born in slavery, just like everybody else. Caleb was the son of people who had only known a life of slavery. But somehow Caleb had a different spirit. The difference was that Caleb refused to be bound and chained by fear of where he could go and what he could do, because he had the audacity to believe that this was his season, and with God on his side, nothing was impossible.